Hello everyone and welcome to the video. Now I recently picked this one up, it just got delivered today in fact, and I couldn't wait to do a pickups video. I think this machine needs a whole video to itself. Now I saw this on eBay, listed for $29.99, so I had to hit buy it now. It was listed as parts are not working, and I have tested it and it doesn't work, but we'll get into that a bit more later. What drew me to it was it's just a nice big retro looking tower in the first place. It's also got one of those CD-ROM bay speaker systems which was featured recently on LGR, so it would be cool to have a play around with that. And it's also one of those crossover cases. It can take AT and ATX motherboards, and it's currently got an AT power supply fitted which works just great, so that's good to have even if the motherboard's not working. Around the back you can see we have an AT keyboard port, a PS2 mouse port, a parallel port and two serial ports. Alongside the speakers in the front bays we also have a CD drive and a floppy drive. I'm yet to find out if those work. So let's take a look at the parts that I've salvaged so far from the machine, and then I'll also get the motherboard rigged up to a test bench and see if there's anything I can do with it. See if I can breathe some life into it. Now I've stripped all of the parts out of the machine to take a look at. So first up we have this PCI modem, which is effectively useless now. We have this PCI USB card. Nothing great, but it will add USB ports to the computer. We have this interesting looking sound card, which I actually believe is a OPL SAX Yamaha chip card. So that could be a very compatible card with genuine OPL free. I could peel the sticker off to find out, but quite a nice sticker. I hesitate to do that. You can just look up the final specs online, which I will do. We have 4 72-pin memory sticks, unknown sizes, but that might give you a hint of what sort of machine we're looking at here. And here's the processor. It's a slot 1 Pentium 2 233 megahertz, which you probably wasn't expecting after seeing those memory chips. And here's the motherboard, a slot 1 AT system with 72-pin slots and SD-RAM slots. Unfortunately I can't get it to post. I'm going to put it on the test bench soon and try a few more things, see if I can get some life out of it. I believe this is a PC Chips M715 or some variant. There's versions of that board that look exactly the same as this, except they have a lot more jumpers. This one's missing the clear CMOS and the CPU speed selection jumpers, which are normally in the middle. On this motherboard I can't find them anywhere, so they must be set through the BIOS. But let's get a test bench rigged up and see what's wrong with it, or see if I can find out what's wrong with it and if I can get it working again. So this is the setup here, just a power supply, the motherboard. I've fitted some SD-RAM, the CPU, and I've got a postcard here to see if I can get any life out of it. So I'll just go and prop the camera up and we'll try powering it on. As you can see, no activity whatsoever on the postcard. And also the reset light is permanently on, which wasn't on when I was testing it inside the case. So I've tried the obvious things. I've reseated the memory, reseated the CPU, removed the CMOS battery, replaced it with a new one. I've tried applying some pressure to some of the chipset, but I haven't had any luck of any sort so far. So it's probably going to be beyond my capabilities to repair it. I do have one more thing I can try, and I will try another CPU in it. But beyond that, I might have to write off this board. So I fitted this Pentium 2 450 from a Dell machine that I've stripped. There's no jumpers on the board to change CPU settings, so I guess we just try powering it on. And again the same. Hasn't made any difference. Now this is a third CPU I've got. It's a Pentium 2 350. But seeing as the reset line is being held high, I don't hold up much hope for this making any difference. Let's find out. And it's the same result again, just as I expected. Does look like I'm going to have to write off this motherboard, which is a shame, but at least there's still plenty more parts from this PC that I will be able to keep. Now I've got my suspicions that it may well be a cracked solder joint on one of the chips somewhere, because there's a couple of times when I've moved it and I have seen slightly different postcodes have come up, but it hasn't continued to post on any of them. And ever since removing the motherboard from the case, it's just been completely dead, so perhaps that solder joint has now completely given up. It's a little bit of a shame, because although it's not a particularly special board, it is interesting with the slot 1 and having 72-pin memory. It's got an AGP port as well, which would have been nice to play with, and also does have a sound chip on the motherboard. There is a header there for it, which I may have been able to work out the pin out for and rigged up something to see what we could get out of that, but unfortunately that won't be the case. So that's it for this video. Obviously it was quite short, but unfortunately when I'm presented with what's effectively a brain dead board, I'm limited with my options of what I can do to try and repair it. Perhaps a new BIOS chip would help, but I don't have a programmer or other chips, so it's not something I can do easily. But you do have to look at the positives in it when you only pay such a low price for a build like this. I've still got the USB card, the CPU, what could potentially be quite a good sound card, 4 sticks of 72-pin RAM. Not sure what size they are, but I will test those in the future. And probably the best part of the purchase is this case. It's solid, it's arrived in really good condition. I think I'm actually going to transfer my 486 build into this case. I haven't got a need for a megahertz display, which is on the other case, because the 486 board I've got, the turbo doesn't actually do anything. Not only have I got the case, I've also got the speakers in the drive bay, as well as the optical drive and the floppy drive. So I won't need to swap any of those out, hopefully, as long as they work. So if you enjoyed the video, please do make sure to like and subscribe. Do appreciate that. And do follow me on Twitter as well for more regular updates on what I'm up to. And as voted for in the most recent YouTube poll, the next video I'll be releasing will be a full restoration of this Toshiba 4000 CDT. So hopefully I'll see you in that video.